Welcome to Central News for Wednesday, 9th of October. I'm Amy Forrest. In today's news, a young upcoming contemporary artist has recently offered his support at the 2013 Hamilton Disability Pride Arts Film Festival at Waikato University. The event aims to focus on how those with disabilities can contribute to the wider arts in our region. Janif Jansen is a passionate artist and has had great success with his artwork. By the age of 19, Janif had received 12 awards, featured in 41 exhibitions, 4 of these international, 8 of these as solo artists, and sold over 100 paintings in USA, Europe and other parts of the world. Janif says that he loves painting and his art is a reflection of his social and cultural benefits.
I have 20 New Zealand landscapes and 20 New Zealand landscapes, and they all got to the environment.
Next month, Rides in the Park 2013 will kick off at the Commons Lakefront in Hamilton. The event raises money for families with sick children who often don't receive the support they need. As so many children in New Zealand are diagnosed with sickness or disease each year. Organiser G hopes that this year will be especially successful, so a large amount of support can be offered to these families.
From this year's event, we'd like to see more donations coming in, more support from anybody and everybody, and hopefully a major sponsor towards next year's event so that they see from this year's how well we actually have done and what we're capable of doing moving forward.
Now for our region's weather. Hamilton, your weather tomorrow shows a few showers with fresh westerlies, a high of 16 and a low of 9. And Tauranga, mainly fine for you tomorrow with a possible late shower, a high of 17 and a low of 10. Just ahead, biodiversity management in our region. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. At the beginning of the month, Waikato University hosted an ecological restoration conference which focused on the Waikato. The conference provided the opportunity for top environmental scientists to share their research and opinions on how to set priorities for biodiversity management in our region. Speaker and Professor Bruce Clarkson shared some of his research with Harriet.
How is biodiversity under threat in the Waikato?
It's under threat in a number of ways. There's been a large amount of habitat clearance relating to agricultural development. More recently, there's been an intensification of agriculture, but there's also that major background problem of all the weeds and the pests that were brought in by early settlers, and particularly things like ship rats and possums, which have a major impact on our environment.
And why is priority setting essential for the proper management of resources?
Critical thing there is that we have a limited budget. We're in a situation where we basically don't have enough money to do all the things we'd like to do, and so we have to set priorities in order to determine how to best use our funding. And of course, some places are more important than others.
How has the Waikato District Council responded when it comes to supporting biodiversity restoration in our region?
They've been very important in a coordinating role, really. So they helped set up what is known as the Waikato Biodiversity Forum, which is a collective of all of the agencies that have an interest in restoration of the environment, and that includes everything from government agencies to community groups. And basically they provide a facilitation process which helps us work together more collegially and share resources, and therefore be much more effective in getting the result that we want.
How are you hoping to ensure better monitoring and reporting when it comes to biodiversity?
Well, again, largely this is about cooperation. So a number of agencies are doing a lot of monitoring already, and the question is, how are we sharing information? How are we working together to standardise the methods that we use so that the results can be compared from one place to another? One of the big issues is how we upscale the information so we have a national picture of how well or otherwise we're doing.
How do you think that community efforts sort of help with biodiversity restoration, or how have they helped in the past?
Well, they are so significant. I mean, at the end of the day, you can talk about it as being stewardship or kaitiakitanga. At the end of the day, if you can involve the community in actually helping fix the issue, you have much greater chance of success. Here in the Waikato, we have a number of notable projects like Maunga Tautari, Waiwhakariki, a whole lot of special projects where people are making enormous progress in learning new techniques and passing the information over to other groups who can then emulate what they're doing and restore other areas in the region.
Now let's talk about the Waikato River and the co-management challenge that faces us there. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've been presented with an amazing opportunity here because, funding has provided to do a fix-up of basically more than 100 years worth of damage. And so, again, by working together and by using some of those iwi values of kaitiakitanga, we can actually start making some real progress in restoring the health and well-being of the river.
Now, how have the wetlands in the Waikato suffered over the years, and what are the implications of this going forward?
Well, the wetlands in particular have largely been the places where we've developed the dairying industry. So the whole of the Waikato Basin once was covered in large peat bogs. Wetlands have been reduced down to about 30% of their original extent. And so what we're trying to do now, of course, is protect the ones that we've still got left, but also in places expand them or take land out of production, which is marginal land which actually would be better back in wetland. And this is largely because wetlands are critical for the services they provide. The main one in the Waikato that wetlands provide is the purification of water, but also buffering the system against some of the flooding that we have with the Waikato River.
What are some of those main steps that have been identified when it comes to going forward from here?
Again, it's around coordination and integration. The major step that really has yet to be fully achieved is making sure that we really are making best use of the limited resource, that we're pooling resources, and that we have common understandings on the priorities for how we actually start providing the solutions.
Why is biodiversity something that we should all be concerned about?
Well, basically biodiversity is the basis of everything. The whole of our agricultural industry, the whole of our environment is entirely dependent on the plants and animals and the microbes, the whole ecosystem out there. Some people refer to it as natural capital. It's just as important, if not more so, than economic capital. It's the basis, basically, for all of the primary industry in New Zealand.
And what can people do to find out more if they're interested in perhaps helping with biodiversity restoration or just want to find out what it's all about?
There's many ways you can do it. You could actually participate and, join a community group where you could help with some of these projects. There are a number of ways you can find out how to do this. Probably the easiest way these days is to go onto Facebook or go onto the web. The Waikato Regional Council, the Waikato Biodiversity Forum has a lovely website where you can find all sorts of information about the projects going on in the region. About 183 individual projects, so there's plenty of coverage, from one part of the region to the other. And I would suggest that people go onto the website, or also they could call the Regional Council and ask to speak to the Biodiversity Forum coordinator or somebody like that, and get an idea about where they could best fit in, and they could then contribute to fixing this problem.
For more information, you can visit the Waikato District Council website, waikatodistrict.gov.nz. Coming up next, a garden challenge like no other. Welcome back. The Tui School Garden Challenge for 2013 is underway and judges are on the lookout for the best school garden in New Zealand. Gemma from Tui joined Hilary in studio to share what their team is expecting from this year's event.
Welcome to the show, Gemma.
Thank you.
So why is Tui School Garden Challenge a great initiative for schools to get involved with?
The Tui School Garden Challenge gives kids an opportunity to work together and literally see the fruits of their labour. The kids get to work together in the garden and learn, how to grow their own and also where their fruit and vegetables come from. And it's quite amazing to see how much more kids seem to enjoy eating fruit and veggies they've grown, than you'd normally expect. we love to see people, especially kids, working together to create something special, and that seems to really be one of the core values that's come out in the challenge every year that we've done it. Also, the schools all receive a complimentary garden starter pack when they register, so that gives them some seed raising mix, some seeds and some resources to help get them going in the garden. And also the first 200 that register actually get some Grow Fresh seedlings from Zealandia, so they get a really good start in the garden.
So you're just giving them seedlings for vegetables and fruits?
Yeah, that's right. Well, they actually get to go into a participating garden centre and select their seedlings. So some of the schools might get some, something else as well, but generally, they want fruit and veggies because they want stuff they can eat.
And how did you come up with the concept, and how long has it been going?
Okay, well, as a New Zealand owned and operated company, we've started at grassroots level and we've developed to become a nationwide manufacturer and distributor of gardening products. And we see it as being really important to get our young Kiwi kids in the garden so that they can see where their food comes from and get an understanding of that, and also learn how to grow their own. Community involvement's also really big for us in this. We encourage the schools to get their local community involved, and in turn, the community gets to see what the schools have actually achieved. So the challenge has been running for 4 years now, and this year we've had almost 600 schools register to take part from around New Zealand. So it seems to be going from strength to strength, and we're really pleased with that.
And how many of those are in our region?
Okay, well, 76 schools from Waikato region have registered to take part, which is a great start. So that's excellent.
It's not too late to register though?
No, it's not. The challenge actually wraps up on the 25th of October, so there are only a few more weeks to go, and then we have a 2-week judging period for the winners to be announced on the 18th of November, but schools can still register to take part and get those last minute entries in.
So have you seen many creative gardens? There's kind of some that caught your eye?
Yeah, it's amazing the creativity that the kids show in the garden. I mean, I guess young kids are naturally creative, but one really cool thing that we've seen is a school that is creating a natural hut out of pallets that they've recycled, and then they've planted up the sides of the pallets with vegetables and then along the top with strawberries. Then, a lot of schools are using their resin paint vouchers to create murals in the garden. One school has decorated their whole pumpkin patch to give it a bit of extra colour. And then there's another school that is actually trying to sing to their plants to see if that helps them grow more quickly.
That'll be interesting to see whether it has it. And what are the judging elements? Like what makes a good garden?
So the schools will be judged on a variety of different factors. One of the main ones is environmental factors. So we really encourage the whole reduce, reuse, recycle concept in the garden. So schools need to show things like recycling, and they show that a lot with the planters and things they use. And then also composting and worm farming is really big. Innovation, we want to see schools doing different things with the way that they're planting and really thinking through the space that they've got in their garden, doing things like vertical planting to really make the most of the area that they've got. We get a lot of living walls and things in the challenge which the schools make, which are really impressive. Community involvement's another big one, definitely. So just getting the community involved and doing things like one school is growing extra seedlings which the kids can take home so that their families can start a garden at home, which is really neat to see.
And what are the prizes for the winning schools?
So there's a few different prizes. We've got the People's Choice Award, which this is a new award that we've got this year where schools can encourage their local community to go onto the TUI website, onto the People's Choice Award page and vote for their school. And the winner of the People's Choice Award, which is the school with the most votes, will receive a $1,000 voucher for TUI products so that they can keep the garden growing. And then we've got the Best Garden category, so there will be 9 finalists selected for that and 3 category winners. And the 9 finalists will each receive a $250 voucher for TUI products and a set of TUI garden books. And then the 3 category winners get a $500 voucher for TUI products, a tumbleweed worm farm, and some more Grow Fresh seedlings from Zealandia so that they can really keep their garden going.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of prizes there.
Yeah, it's great.
So have you seen that the kids have kind of taken home what they've learnt and started to teach their parents about gardening?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that we see naturally that a lot of the parents do get involved and help out with working bees and stuff like that. So there's like information transfer that way. But yeah, like I said before, you know, there's some schools that are growing seedlings so that the kids can take them home. Last year we had a school that each kid had an ice cream container that they were growing salad greens in, and then once the salad greens were ready to be harvested, they'd take it home and, you know, share it with their family. Another school last year, I think it was 15 out of the 28 students in their class that took part in the challenge went home and started a garden. So it is amazing to see, you know, how enthusiastic the kids are and how they transfer that enthusiasm over to their parents as well. It's really cool.
What do they do with all these fruit and veggies afterwards?
The schools, well, it depends. Some of the schools take stuff home, which is great, you know, because obviously you don't want them to be wasting all the stuff that they're growing. A lot of schools really practice the garden to table concept, where they will, you know, with the kids at school, they'll make meals out of it. They'll use their parsley to make up a pesto, that sort of thing. And then we've got some really entrepreneurial students who are making sandwiches and things like that out of the produce from their garden, selling it at local markets, and then using that money to contribute back to their garden so that they can buy more things to go in it, pretty much.
Wow, it sounds like such a great initiative. Thank you
it's
so
really
much
exciting.
for coming in.
No problem, thank you.
For more information or to register your school, visit the Tui School Garden Challenge website, which is tuigarden.co.nz. After the break, speed water skiing. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. Cambridge water ski racer Mitchell Horan has just returned from the Water Skiing World Championships after taking out 3 national titles earlier in the year. Just 17 years old, Mitchell has proven to be an incredibly dominating competitor in speed water skiing. Harriet caught up with Mitchell on his return to hear about how he got on.
So how did you get on at the World Champs?
I had an amazing time. We went to Tenerife, which is the largest of the Canary Islands in Spain. I got second, which was really cool. I skied behind the Beast Racing, which is my uncle's boat. Very fortunate that he invested a lot of money for me to be able to go over. It was a really long trip and a lot of flying. I was the only competitor who has actually competed at World Championships before, which was a big advantage for me. The conditions were quite daunting, very large water, and an amazing place to go. It was really cool.
And so you said that the conditions were quite different to what perhaps you were used to training here in the Waikato. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, the water's a lot more buoyant. There's a much higher salt content in the Atlantic. So what happens is when you're on the water and actually skiing, the ski doesn't require as much effort to hop over waves, so it makes you jump a lot more, and it kind of catches you off quite a bit, but it's just a lot different. There's a lot of swells, a lot of chop, a lot of wind. Because of the higher salt content, the water's a lot whitewash, so it's really difficult to read the waves, a lot more thinking involved.
So how much training were you doing prior to the World Champs?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of training. Thanks to Cambridge Fitness Centre, they sponsored me a gym membership, which I was in about at least 4 days a week after school. We were at Lake Karapira in Tauranga Harbour at least once a week, if not twice a week, for at least 45 minutes in all sorts of conditions. We trained in rain, hail, shine. It's really cool.
And how confident did you feel going in to the Champs?
I felt really confident, not too confident that I was going to fail and go to my head, but I knew I had a good chance compared to I did a lot of scoping of the competition before we left, so I knew I had a good chance.
And how do you feel now reflecting on your experience and perhaps looking forward from here?
I feel good. The guy that won, Jack Harrison from Australia, really well deserved, really good skier. It was a good competition between the 2 Australians and myself. It's really just racing for first, second or third between us every race. Looking forward, I want to compete at the next World Championships again for sure. What class that is, not quite decided yet, but yeah, it's going to be cool.
So when and where are the next Champs going to be?
Undecided, but 75% chance, probably Rotorua and Taupo.
How mentally tough do you have to be when you are competing on this level?
Takes a lot of mind strength. I mean, to have something on your mind for 4 years and then actually go and do it, like, it's on, well, this World Championships that I just competed at, I was planning for this one before the last World Championships I competed in. So, yeah, I was just thinking about it a lot. There's a lot that goes through your head, training, what you need to be doing, the speed, the danger, all the different factors, the winds, things you can't control, like the sea conditions, all that kind of stuff. They change so fast. And we found that in Spain, like the water conditions for the ladies' race and the first race could be completely different from our race when we went out, and only half an hour later. It was really intense.
How supportive is your family when it comes to your racing?
Insane. They are there 110% all the time. Whenever I need anything, they're always there to help me. We try our best to go to all the events and things like that, and I give my best, so it's really helpful for them.
Now, you mentioned before the Beast Racing. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
The Beast Racing. My cousin Colin Eagles bought the boat at the last World Championships, and it was originally an American boat called Wendt Brothers Racing, but Colin lives on a farm, or has lived on dairy farms his whole life, so he named the boat the Beast Racing, and it's got a big picture of decals of a cow and bull, I don't know. But yeah, he set it up for me essentially for this World Championships, and it's a 21-foot Nordic powered by a 1,075 horsepower twin supercharged 572 big block Chevrolet.
So how did you fundraise enough money to go over to the championships?
A lot of fundraising. Yeah, we did a lot, from everything from fundraising at market days to Lions Cambridge. The Cambridge Lions helped me a lot. So many people I can't name. We had an auction night at the Prince Albert in Cambridge that we raised about $4,000, I think, which was quite a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, $13,000 on flights. Didn't even notice it. So, yeah. But everything helped. Everyone that fundraised for me, I want to personally thank you for that. And
so have you got any other events coming up this year, or perhaps looking into next year?
Main events for the end of this year is the Hamilton City Bridge to Bridge on the Waikato River every year. Personally looking forward to this one. I've got a ski partner from Australia, Will Groves from Victoria, who's coming over to ski with me. We won the race outright in 2011 and got third last year outright, but we had a bit of a mishap I had a bit of a mishap at the start of the second leg last year, which put us back, but it was good.
And how far do you hope to go with your water skiing?
I want to go as far as I can go, which obviously at the moment is world stage. If I keep going, maybe not the next World Champs, but definitely the next one, we should expect good things, hopefully.
You're going to Waikato Uni next year to do business. Do you hope to keep up with the level of training that you're doing at the moment while you're studying?
Yeah, so that's why main reason why I applied for the Sheridan Hillary Scholarship. There's full advantage for athletes that are trying. They give you gym memberships, out of study leave for your sports and things like that, so it's going to help a lot, hopefully.
That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have any news, including your own video or photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. Hillary will be back tomorrow with more guests from in and around the region. I'm Amy Forrest. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.